There's so much news today, including this outrage about Elon bringing back Jones on this platform, but we'll start with a new record. Tesla Giga Shanghai set a new production record at 90,800 Model Ys and 3s in November. And look at Model 3 production. In November, it was higher than in any other month in 2023. This is important because it, number one, shows that the ramp is going very well, and number two, Model 3 production is at record highs, which means that Tesla would not push Model 3 production this high if they didn't have demand for it. So 91,000 in production in November does indeed set up a very strong December. And Tesla's Giga Shanghai factory is now at an annualized production rate of nearly 1.1 million vehicles, a new all-time high. And that high production number does support Tesla saying that the Model Y is sold out. It supports strong demand, otherwise Tesla would not be producing so many vehicles. But the good news does not stop there. Tesla just set a new record in Europe for the first 2 months in the quarter. This does not guarantee a record in Europe because if you look at the previous quarters, we did the same, but then in the end, we did not have a record quarter. But I think Q4 is going to be different because in Q3, I think we would have had a record, but there were no Model 3s available for anyone to buy. And if you look at the inventory in Europe at the Model Y here and the Model 3 in red, you will see that the situation is exactly the same as in the previous quarter. But the good news is I once placed in the top 20 in the National Math Olympics, which means I can do math but also think at the same time. So let's think here. Over here, we literally had no new Model 3s delivered in Europe, and the inventory was not really there. Over here, we have lots of Model 3s delivered in Europe, and the inventory remains even lower than before, which means people are actually buying these cars, which means deliveries are expected to be higher. So it's certainly good news. The government is seeking remedies that could include suspending Tesla's license to sell vehicles in California, Tesla's largest US market, and requiring the company to make restitution to drivers. In the 2022 complaints, which match, I guess, the Twitter acquisition day, so therefore I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I mean, how could you imagine the government intervening something that Elon Musk is doing? Impossible, right? But the DMV had said Tesla misled prospective customers with advertising that overstated how well its advanced driver assistance systems worked. But Tesla defended its use of Autopilot and self-driving for its driver assistance features, arguing that the agency had implicitly approved the terms when it did not take action in its previous investigations of them. Tesla said that the DMV had investigated its use of the Autopilot brand in 2014 and 2017. My personal guess is that none of this would be happening if Elon did not get himself involved with Twitter. Tesla Sweden employees receive threats as the union struggle continues. Tesla reports that employees have received threats on social media and is now prioritizing the safety of employees. It is a sensitive situation, a Tesla representative said. This is a seriously bad look for the unions. It makes them look like a mafia organization. Otherwise, why would these employees even receive threats? And check this out, this is in Norway. The Labour Party urgently summons Tesla to the Storting. The Labour Party wants to have a meeting with Tesla about the working life rules. The Storting is basically a parliament, so like the Congress or the Senate in the US. So this is getting somewhat serious. Remember Tony Sacconaghi? He says Tesla stock is going down to $150 per share. And Tony's firm, Bernstein, says that shorting Tesla stock is their best idea for 2024. I'll translate this for you. If you follow this, it's like following someone who lost everything shorting Tesla stock. Here's what I mean by that. The Analyst does not own any Tesla stock or any positions that are short Tesla stock, which, by the way, is clear proof that the Analyst is not stupid. Actually, I think Tony is fairly smart. I think he's just terribly wrong about Tesla. Because if you look at his track record, he never said ever buy Tesla stock. He just said hold, and then he said sell. I mean, if you only hold, but you're holding nothing because you never bought anything, yeah, from the time he started saying sell Tesla stock. If he shorted Tesla stock, he would have lost everything. And I heard Gary say before that Tony's actually the #1 Apple stock analyst, so he's clearly not dumb. So how does this happen? Well, Gary explains. Bernstein tech analyst Tony Sacconaghi has had an underperformed rating on Tesla stock since July 2020. The sales head likely came to Tony and said, "We would like to highlight your Tesla underperform rating as one of our best ideas for our coming hedge fund series. Can you put together 10 to 15 slides to support Tesla as a short?" Tony said probably, yeah, sure. But there's some pushback against Gary here. If you have worked in the sell side, which basically is made up of analysts that give Tesla stock price targets, sales heads don't really do that, at least not bulge bracket ones. But Gary says, I worked on the sell side for years. That's exactly how these type of events come about. And of course, Tesla stock is up 155% since his underperformed rating originally came out in July 2020. Troy just updated his delivery estimate. His previous delivery estimate was 485,000, and his latest public estimate is 482,000, so 3,000 deliveries less. For Tesla to reach 1.8 million deliveries, Tesla needs to deliver 476,000 vehicles this quarter, so I don't see an issue with Troy's newest estimate. Sometimes electric is very critical of Tesla, but they chose the Tesla Model Y as electric's vehicle of the year, so this is good news. An interview on Monday is going to drop with Sandy and multiple Tesla executives. I really look forward to the whole Tesla team this time interviewing Sandy. I actually quite enjoyed the last one, even though Sandy talked a lot. If it's Sandy talking the whole time, most of the time, I will still enjoy it greatly. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. Gary Black is feeling bullish. He says the $25,000 next generation vehicles will likely roll out quicker than Tesla has indicated, likely in late 2024. Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin are all synchronizing production and launch. This will expand Tesla's total addressable market to the mass segments, and Tesla is keeping this quiet, probably because it wants to avoid the Osborne effect, because some people would just stop buying Model 3s or maybe even Model Ys in some cases. Troy, though, is wondering where batteries for Giga Mexico will come from. $7,500 tax credit still applies for cars produced in Mexico, but the $45 per kilowatt hour credit needs US-made batteries. A CATL/Tesla US factory would solve this, but construction must start soon for January 2026 launch. And we know that Tesla is actually trying to partner up with CATL to build something in the US. Now, why does Tesla need these tax credits if it triggers more complexity? Well, the cells cost around $80 per kilowatt hour to produce. If they are produced in the US, the manufacturer gets $35 per kilowatt hour from the government. It's called the Advanced Manufacturing Production Credit, and it goes directly to Tesla's bank account. Additionally, there's another $10 incentive per kilowatt hour for making modules out of cells. It's a good deal. By doing what the government wants you to do, you basically eliminate half of your costs immediately while this credit lasts. So this just happened, and I think many people will blow this out of proportion. Tesla's AI infra and AI platform engineering manager says he's leaving Tesla to go to Google's DeepMind. Tim is certainly pretty good, but you gotta understand that he joined NVIDIA in 2016 and then he joined Tesla in 2019. Anyone who says that Tesla is now doomed because he's leaving Tesla also had to say in 2016 that NVIDIA was doomed because he left NVIDIA in 2016. But what did NVIDIA do? Well, it went up only, 4,000%. So it is totally fine. Some people just move companies. Some people like constant change. I don't see any major issues here. If you look at his LinkedIn, you'll notice that there is a clear pattern, and that is he keeps a job for about 3 to 4 years and then he moves on to the next thing. So this is totally fine. Look at this headline here. Tesla failed at battery swapping. Stellantis says it may have the secret. But Sawyer is right. Tesla didn't fail at battery swapping. They didn't want to do it. Tesla previously said that EV charging is the best way to power its vehicles, and the battery swapping is riddled with problems and not suitable for wide-scale use. Here, actually, Tesla even demonstrated battery swapping. This is from about 10 years ago now. And if charging keeps getting faster and faster and faster, battery swapping makes zero sense because There's so much infrastructure required for battery swapping, and also you keep changing your battery. So how do you know that the battery that you're getting is actually a good battery and has not been heavily abused? You just have so many issues. So if charging keeps getting faster, there's no need for battery swapping ever. The only way that I see that battery swapping sort of makes sense in some occasions is, for example, for people that live in apartments and they cannot charge at home. But in the US, most people live in, there are more people that live in single family houses than in apartments. Alexandra here made a pretty strong statement about Cathie Wood. 4 days of extensive trading in the ARK funds and not one single trade related to Tesla. ARKK alone has room for $200 million more of purchases for Tesla stock. Cathie Wood obviously does not believe in the stock at the moment. Tesla stock is 7.5% of Cathie's main fund, so I don't think I can really say that Cathie does not believe in Tesla stock, otherwise she would just sell everything. I think this comment actually sort of makes sense why Cathie Wood might be doing what she's doing. The stock is squirreling at the moment, so a large move is coming up. If it's going up, the percentage will get closer to 10% anyway. On the other hand, if the stock goes down, they can buy more shares at cheaper prices. It, of course, is not a guarantee that Tesla will move a lot higher or much lower, but if you look at Tesla's history, you see that the stock just doesn't stay in one place. It's always moving a lot, either up or down. And here, the reason why it looks so flat is because the stock went up a lot here. So if you actually go back here, you will see that it was very volatile as well. It just never stays flat. I just learned about a new Cybertruck feature. Cybertruck has wade mode, which raises ride height and pressurizes battery when driving through water. A few weeks ago, a Cybertruck was spotted right here driving through all of this water. So if you do this, you definitely want to turn that mode on. And here's some good news. Regular Cybertruck reservations holders who are not Tesla employees are starting to get invited to complete their orders for Foundation Series Cybertrucks. This guy ordered a Cybertruck while Elon was still on stage in 2019 and lives in Texas. And here's another person getting that same email confirmation for a Foundation edition. He also ordered during the live event and he lives in Texas. And Sawyer says that he's getting a ton of DMs from followers saying that Tesla is inviting them to configure Foundation Series Cybertrucks, and he confirmed each and every one of them that none of them are Tesla employees, so that's really good. Then he says even more DMs are rolling in. All of them live in Texas or California, and then he posts again, even more people are texting him. So yeah, this is actually happening. It's actually starting now. Yesterday, Night Story counted that 40 people how directly messaged him. Wow, so that is indeed a lot. And certainly not everyone follows Sawyer, so there must be many more people who are getting these invitations. And Sawyer just tweeted that about 150 people have directly messaged him with proof that Tesla has invited them to configure and order a Foundation Series Cybertruck. So that's really a lot of people. So the actual number is definitely more than that, maybe 500, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but some of these people also said that they will take delivery this month. At this point, mass Cybertruck deliveries are imminent. Omar also got the email. He's ready to order the Cybertruck. Congratulations. And Sawyer confirmed that in the Foundation Series Cybertruck order agreements, Tesla says you cannot resell or flip your Cybertruck within 1 year of delivery unless you want to pay a fine of about $50,000. But it's also not clear if it's going to be the case for all of these Cybertrucks or just for this Foundation Series Cybertrucks. I personally like the no resale clause. I mean, you can still sell it back to Tesla, so you won't lose money. But one reason why I like it is because it helps competitors not get their hands on one. And if you do want to sell your Founder Series Cybertruck 12 months from now, Steven is ready to buy it from you. He does have a reservation, but 400,000 people are in front of him. And it is now confirmed that the range extender is indeed priced at $16,000. Oh, and Tesla actually did release a video clip showing what happens if you hit the Cybertruck with a hammer compared to any other truck. My guess is people will actually make videos showing how tough it is. Oh wow, Tesla's actually posting a bunch of these videos. They have safety glasses and everything. And hail is something that you never need to worry about the Cybertruck. At least the stainless steel part certainly will not be damaged. I'm wondering what would happen to the windows though. And here's one of the coolest things you can witness. A whole bunch of Cybertrucks just driving together. Looks pretty cool. This is quite surprising. Advertiser boycotts might be having an opposite effect on X. Based on my last payout, my earnings are near an all-time high. When looking at earnings per impressions and engagements, this means X is earning more, not less. Wow. For Zod's impressions and engagements are up between 5 to 10%, but his earnings are up over 100%. This is absolutely incredible. Wow.
Tony Sacconaghi, he's calling shorting Tesla. What's your take on the call, and should people sell Tesla?
Look, I mean, the bears, it's been a brutal year for the bears. And, and obviously, Tony does great work. But I think what's not in the spreadsheets is what basically is the transformation that's happening in the auto industry. Tesla is leading it. Now, the next phase of the Tesla growth story is happening. And I think valuation, these analysts continue to call Tesla just an auto company. That's basically saying, that Steph Curry is just a basketball player.
Why?
Because you look at it's disruptive tech. And I think you're starting to now see whether it comes to supercharger, whether it comes to battery technology, whether it comes to full self-driving. And I would argue this could be one of the purest play AI names out there. That's why the stock looks like Rock of Gibraltar going into 24, despite numbers that have come down.
Tesla indeed is a massive AI play. Don't tell me later, I didn't warn ya. Xpeng shows off their 12,000-ton gigapress. Their new X9 minivan will use these castings. However, the decline of NIO stock continues. The investors are not really feeling bullish about any of this. For these huge gigapresses to be really effective, I think you need relatively high volume from just one vehicle, and I'm not sure if NIO can really do that. With Twitter making so many improvements and the advertising revenue perhaps actually not being down, I am becoming more and more interested in investing in X. I need to look more into it. It also has been a few days since Elon Musk said something outrageous, is what Grok said at least. But Elon Musk says just wait for it. Anyway, if you guys know how to invest in X, please leave a comment down below. I'm seriously considering it. I would not sell any Tesla stock, but I would be able to probably invest a decent amount. And actually, we didn't need to wait long for the next controversy.
Elon Musk considers bringing Alex Jones back to X. We'll run a poll to decide. So here's what happens. We have Tucker Carlson drop his interview with Alex Jones. The Quartering tweets, think about how much letting Alex Jones back on X would make the machine rage, Elon Musk. It's time. Elon responds, we'll consider. In general, since this platform aspires to be the global town square, permanent bans should be extremely rare. Also, if he does say something false on this platform, then community notes will correct him, whereas that would not be the case elsewhere. And then he says, let's hold a poll.
It looks like Alex Jones will be reinstated. 70% of the people voted to reinstate him. And Elon says, I vehemently disagree with what he said about Sandy Hook, but are we a platform that believes in freedom of speech or are we not? That is what it comes down to in the end. If the people vote him back on, this will be bad for X financially, but principles matter more than money. This is actually one strong reason why I am interested in investing in X. The poll will end later today, and I guess that Alex Jones will be back. Elon responded to this video, so let's take a look at it.
The biggest bull case for the stock is all the things that no one talks about. It's the charging network. Everyone has adopted or signed on to their charging network. That could be potentially another $5 billion in revenue for them going forward. And if you look at what they gave up, right, they cut prices to gain share. If you had to say the next best EV player, it would be Rivian, which I'm long, but it's a very, very distant second. They've proven to be the only ones that are capable of turning a profit.
So you're not really on board with this call from Tony Sacconaghi.
No, and I think that I think if you look technically, and Carter sees this too, it stopped, much higher than 150. You've seen them break that declining trend line. It stopped around 185. It marked itself up. And I think that you're going to see a lot of hiccups on the way down. But anybody who has bet against Elon Musk is pretty much licking their wounds every time.
True. Never, ever bet against Elon. If you want to make an Elon bet, it's best to invest with Elon. And make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. That really helps the channel. And I will see you in tomorrow's episode. Thank you so much for watching.